Scott Golden here with the Golden Opportunities Coaching YouTube channel and the work that we do here on a consistent basis to try and make the world a better place. We try to do that as often as we can, and we try to do that with audios that are consistently beneficial to a number of people, and we try to do that as often as we can with audios that cover a variety of topics. We get over 700 currently, hoping to get to it over 1,000 in the new, in the rest of the year. In any event, if you're looking for coaching about how to better balance, manage, or handle your emotions, that is a brilliant thing to do, and would love to be of assistance to people who are looking to do exactly that. There's a couple of ways to reach out. You can reach out through Twitter at PO Perception, or you can reach out in the About Me section of this YouTube page. Either way, we'll get you in touch with either me or a member of my team, and we are certainly committed to making that happen for you. There's a couple things to consider when looking at emotional neglect. What is emotional neglect? It is the process of allowing your emotions to be manipulated and or left not to matter. And so we often are victims of emotional neglect without knowing it, and we're going to run through some things that'll show that in a way. So the first thing is, if you have a selfish partner or selfish friends, if you are constantly surrounding yourself with selfish people and trying to either make them change or believing that they will change, or allowing them to treat you badly without expectation that they will change, and just kind of overlooking things just to have someone in your life just to be in that position, that can cause a number of social and psychological issues, but it can also lead to feelings of emotional abandonment and by proxy, emotional neglect. It's important to remember and to recognize that these things are preventable, but also that you may be in denial about the situation you truly find yourself in. The next is no affection, whether that's words of affirmation, small gifts being given, physical affection, romantic and non-romantic, or in terms of just a compliment here and there. If you're not receiving affection from the people in your life, your needs are in some way being neglected. And so it is, it's a delicate balance, because obviously we don't want to be so dependent on people's opinions that we are in a negative space if they, draw back for a few days or a few weeks. But at the same time, if you don't have anyone that's feeding your need to feel connected, then there are long-term effects psychologically and emotionally that will have a negative impact on your quality of life. The next is lack of communication, whether that be through the silent treatment or not being clear and concise with intentions or desires from another person's perspective. It is super important to get and receive communication in a way that is meaningful to you, one, but also helpful and constructive for your benefit. And when you begin to understand that, for the most part, people often don't know how to do that, or they're unwilling to do it if they don't think there's going to be a maximized benefit. It can be super valuable to begin to look at, is the person I'm in relationship with really valuing me as a person, or are they trying to find a different way of being, a better way to be, and or another place to focus in the long run. It can be super valuable to begin to understand that sooner or later you have to know where that balance is, both in the long and short run of where to go and how to go from that perspective. The next is, if you're dealing with feelings of resentment all the time, this is a good indicator that your needs aren't being met on an emotional level, because resentment is an indicator that, in fact, you're dealing with emotions primarily about the past, which is something that you cannot fix, because obviously we don't have a time machine, and you're spending, some would even say wasting, energy going in a direction that will never lead to consistent positive resolution. Now, that's not to say that you shouldn't have opinions or emotions around those concepts or ideas, and or that you just let things go. But resentment dwelling within you on a continual basis will lead to challenges as it relates to how things play out for you and the quality of life you experience daily, weekly, monthly, and year over year, because dealing with resentment on that level is ultimately uh, toxic to your mental and emotional well-being. The next thing is the opposite, actually. You're too open. So when a person reaches a level of desperation for connection and they jump from person to person, random attachment disorder, randomized emotional attachments, and or quick beginnings and endings to both platonic and romantic relationships can be an indication that, in fact, a person becoming too open can lead to a lot of trouble. If they don't feel that there's anything worth fighting for in their friendships or in their relationships, family or otherwise, that can also be a sign of emotional neglect, because while fighting is something that virtually no one wants to do, sometimes there are situations where you have to stand up for what you believe and you recover from those disagreements with a deeper knowledge of the other person and the value that they bring to your life, respectively, and the value that they bring to yours. If you don't have that experience, it can be super toxic to um, kind of be in relationships with people that at best bring you apathy. The last thing is, if you're constantly lonely, loneliness is a sign that your emotional needs aren't being met, because social isolation is a sign of indirectiveness, and that can be super valuable to know, so you can address it and find ways to feel more connected in your localized community and elsewhere. So hopefully that's helpful, and until next time, keep your feet on the ground, your mind in the moment. Until next time, everybody.